I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back! We are here!
Woo! All of us?
All of us are here talking about episode 6 and 7 of The Full Type. Veronica Valencia, how is your Thursday going?
It's good. What about you, Allie?
I am loving this week because guess what? It's almost over.
I know.
Oh my gosh, Carla
That's the best
Beltran.
part about this show is that it's on a Thursday. I'm like, I can do this late because like tomorrow's Friday, so there's no problem.
No pressure.
One last day. Hey guys, Allie Nast here, and we want to dive right in because I think this was a pretty good episode. What are you guys thinking?
This was one of the best.
Yeah. I think we're finally like leading up to the juicy stuff that's gonna basically happen next episode, as we saw in the previews. But with that being said, we've got a lot of amping up to get to that point. And especially because, I have a thing that Ryan is up to something.
You've been predicting this for a long time.
I have been waiting, and it looks like it's going to come to a head. But before that, let's break it down. So Kat, she has kind of been going through the ups and the downs. She has found a new love interest, a thing, which makes her realize, you know what, maybe I'm actually bi and not a lesbian. Because she's been, she met Kat, and it was one of those things where she was like, oh, well, I obviously have feelings for her, so I must be this. And I think she was really kind of figuring out how to, like, put herself into a box. How do we feel about her kind of realizing, you know what, I don't need to put myself into this box?
I think that's great. I think that the way that she explained it, where she says she's a lover of people, was the best way that she can go about it. Because I don't think that she needs to fit into a box. Because she doesn't fit any box, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, I absolutely love the fact that she is still trying to find herself. Kat has always tried to find a way to fit in, but really I think she needs to just kind of learn how to accept herself, whether it's, you don't have to fit a specific label. And I think I kind of liked this about her arc the last 2 episodes, is because she's kind of showing, hey, you don't have to fit a certain image in order to define yourself as what you are.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think it's fun that she's finding, she had that girl from New Jersey, which was so funny. Like, because at first she was thinking they were opposite, but then they really hit it off. And I loved seeing Kat kind of fall for someone that was a little bit out of what she thought would be her type. She wasn't expecting it to hit it off at all. But what I'm also loving is, so Cody, I don't know if you guys were a fan of the Royals, but he was Jasper in the Royals. If you guys were Royals fans on E, it was such a good show. But I have to say that because I knew that when he kind of looked at Kat that first time, there had to be something coming about, because Jasper's a pretty hot guy, and like I know him.
When we were watching the show, I was like, oh my gosh, look at that cute bartender, but I thought he was an extra.
He was totally giving flirty eyes to Kat. Did you guys catch that?
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I will say, I wish that New Jersey date, like the girl with, I wish it wouldn't have ended so soon, because I wanted to they were having fun. It was fun to watch them. They really hit it off.
Yeah, I kind of just like this face for Kat.
Yeah.
This is what I was asking for.
Yes.
I asked her for Jane originally, but I'm not mad that we got her with Kat, because she should be having fun, and she's taking time for herself, and I think that's so important. So I'm here for it. But of course, Adina, as I think I said this like a couple of weeks, you guys, Adina came back, and of course she comes back right when she's like having fun, and she's like exploring. She's like, okay, well maybe I want to try this, and maybe I want to try that, and Adina has to come and just bring all her negative Nancy energy, and I'm like,
seriously.
Okay, well.
But exes always come back when you're happy. As soon as it's like you're happy and you're moving on and you're getting in your groove and you're dating people, all of a sudden it's like, ding! They get this sense about them, like, hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's like, I don't know about you girls, but personally, I'm kind of getting tired of this Adina Kat storyline. I think it's just because every single time that the writers or the show brings Adina back into the picture, I feel like there's always some type of concept that's just like, or there's a comment that's made, or there's a situation that's happening where it's just like, this is why you guys broke up. So, and like, I'm kind of ready for them to go live on with it, like move on with their lives and explore different options. But the show keeps bringing that together. But I'm like, okay, like either let them be together or not, because I'm kind of tired of this repetitive back and forth.
Yeah. And I mean, we were all huge Kadena fans, but I think now we've realized they're just not good for each other.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually when they've grown and they've found themselves, maybe that can happen. But it's just kind of frustrating too, because Adina's the one that broke up with Kat. She's the one that wanted to, you know, do other things, see other people. She's seeing other people. And then she makes that comment to Kat before she goes to this party. And I just feel like it was a little uncalled for.
It totally was, yeah.
And I just think it's hard because obviously Kat's trying to do the best she can to move forward. And it's like she keeps going back because obviously she still cares for Adina. Like, she loves.
I mean, she
/
always will,
loved her.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, she always will care for Adina. I think when Adina comes back into her life, Kat has a hard way of kind of staying away from her.
Yeah.
And the fact that Adina kind of, like you were saying, Allie, Adina's the one that broke up with her, but the fact that she kind of keeps giving these hints to Kat, like, oh, I still care about you. So come, like, only think of me, where she was like, oh, you know, my relationship meant nothing to you because it might have been a phase, and what she meant by that comment. But it's like, these kinds of things are what makes Kat feel like she can still hold on.
Yeah.
When really what you both need to do at this point is, you know, move on.
Yeah, agreed. But one last thing, too, that I didn't really agree with was the fact that Adina questioned Kat's intention / feelings for her when they were together.
Yeah.
And it's like she flew with, like, remember that whole airport scene?
Yeah.
Kat gave so much of herself to Adina. So it's like I can understand why she would question it now, but it's also like I can't understand it because, like, in the moment, obviously Kat was fully there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are you guys thinking? In the chat, please let us know, because I was just kind of frustrated to hear that Adina was questioning something when we've been able to clearly see that Kat has loved her so much.
Yeah, well, hello to April and David. You guys are awesome for tuning in. And
As
April,
well as Roxanne.
Oh, and hello, Roxanne. April did bring up something. She said that we've known that Kat is bisexual since season 1.
Yeah.
I don't know why when I read this, I thought about it. Who's the one that hooked up with Alex? Sutton or Kat?
Sutton.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but I think there were some vibes or something. I
There
can't
were some
remember.
vibes, right? I think
can't remember.
With Kat
Yeah.
and Alex.
But I think that this was the first guy that Kat had gone back to since Adina.
Yeah.
And I think I think she's still even though she was thinking about moving on, I think that her sights were still kind of in Adina's lane. But I think maybe after this conversation, it might be done.
Yeah,
At
I
least
hope
for
so.
now, for a while. Yeah.
I was kind of like, oh, it would be really nice to have Adina back. And now I'm kind of like, actually, we didn't really need her back. We were okay with, like, moving forward, you know?
Yeah, especially if you're going to bring some negative, you know, connotations to the relationship that you had with Kat when she put so much time and energy into it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I don't know. Speaking about relationships and putting a lot of energy into something is Sutton and your favorite ever. I just think that Sutton, you know, they're doing long distance, and that's got to be hard in the middle of planning a wedding.
Of course.
And clearly they're doing a good job in staying in communication. But I think that, like, maybe that's why Sutton's going a little bit off the rails with this whole, you know, trying to figure out her career now, because she's realizing, oh my gosh, like, now that, you know, he's not here, then where am I going to put all my time and energy? And I think that's why she's kind of, like, really reveling in what's going on with my career. I need to figure it out now.
I have a question that
Yes.
I kind of want to pose. Do you think I understand that Sutton completely wants to progress in her career.
Yeah.
You know, she's in this position right now and she wants to be a stylist. But do you think there's also this slight pressure of the fact that Richard has been so settled and so successful that she wants to kind of get on his level to, you know, feel secure in their relationship, but just feel like kind of we can relate it a little bit to last week with Alex and Alicia, even though that was a whole other topic of conversation. But, you know, she probably wants to, like, be on the same level, essentially.
I think so. I think that's a really good point to bring up, because obviously this whole episode was like, it was mainly about 30 under 30 and, like, your accomplishments and everything you've accomplished before 30, which I feel like 30 is such a young age, you know? So maybe for her, she's like, oh, well, I'm marrying this man. And she continues to say, like, oh, you're over here saving lives, and I'm just, like, styling people, or I'm just an assistant. So I think that it definitely adds like pressure to her. But I think that if anything, she's really frustrated with where she's at, and she doesn't really know like how she's gonna get to the next step. Even though like it's really easy to say, obviously she has to put in all the work to get to where she wants to be. But I just think that she's becoming a little bit impatient, only because like Richard is also not there, you know. And I think that when it might be even uncomfortable for her to be able to like to be living at a place where she can't really even afford, you know, where she's living. It's like you come home and you're like, well, I couldn't even afford this, and like my partner isn't here, so it's like I should be doing something else. So I think that it's a lot of pressure added on her that she just puts it
and on. I think I agree with both of you, and I think that also she's seeing both of her friends be super successful. Not that she's not, but their careers have taken many steps forward in the same time that she's kind of gotten into the actual career path that she wanted to be, because, you know, she was an assistant not for someone in fashion, and so that took a huge leap in time, and now she's, you know, only been an assistant for Oliver for like, I would say maybe in this world it's been a year or so. And so that's the thing, is sometimes, you know, I think we all kind of can attest to the fact that we compare ourselves to the others that are in our friend group that are the same age as us, but might be, you know, light years ahead in their career. But it's all about luck and opportunity and timing and the people you know, and sometimes it's just not your timing to move forward, and especially in your department. And I think that that's what she's experiencing right now. She's seeing, you know, Jane get 30 under 30, and then she's seeing obviously Kat be really successful in the social media space, and so she's kind of feeling a little bit left behind. But that doesn't discount her job and what she offers Oliver in her role.
And she kind of, and the thing is too, is like, I can see the fact that she is being impatient, but she needs to be very careful with that, because as we saw this episode, you can make a mistake that could actually completely derail your career or even end it by pulling the kind of move she pulled tonight.
It was actually super interesting when we were watching her tell Richard's mom, like, oh yeah, this is what I do, and she was like, the mom was obviously super confused, because it's like, really, when you tell your family like what Instagram is, if they're older, they're like, well, that's dumb, you know, like it seems really pointless. So it was just kind of one of those things where you're like, wow, like she's putting so much importance in this thing that it wasn't even her idea, you know. It was Kat's idea for her to do this, because she thought this was a way for her to reach her goal. And obviously she's trying to also fit in with like what Richard represents, and like the family, and that whole thing with the wedding, and the mom was like, oh, don't worry, I'll pay for it all. So it's like,
she's beer, not champagne.
It's just, it's tough, because also too, we've never seen Sutton kind of screw up, from what we know right now, this big. Oliver's never not been okay with something. I thought there was a little glimpse of maybe him being mad about the whole uniform thing like 2 episodes ago, but I think that this is something way bigger, because this is a connection, and this is somebody that is huge in, you know, the ether of Instagram and an influencer. And so I think this is the biggest time she's messed up so far. So it'll be interesting to see how Oliver can like move forward in their working relationship from this, and I think he definitely will get over it, but I think it's just timing that will tell. But I mean, it's obviously a huge learning lesson. Like, I think she needed to be a little bit more maybe vocal about what she wanted to do, and been a little, I mean, I think you're being honest in the time, but when you realize like, oh crap, when I now on my work day am going out to help somebody else that doesn't have anything to do with Scarlett, like, those don't connect.
Yeah, and I think that she didn't really trust Oliver to the point where, like how she normally does. I think that, especially with social media, everything gets out nowadays. You know, you can't say like, oh, I'm out sick, because then you're posting on your stories that you're at Disneyland. And people see it. You can block people from your account, as many people you want, but there's always going to be, like, it's always going to come out in one way or another. So I think, like, obviously the smartest thing that she could have done in that instance was, like, seek for help and seek for advice, you know, like, hey, Oliver, you know, I got this opportunity, what do you think, like, do you mind helping me, is it okay if I take some stuff? And I think that if she would have done it the right way, besides lying, because I think that was the biggest mistake, is her lying, saying like, oh, I went to go return some clothes, when really she went to go do another job, because she was trying to get those extra followers, which I was like,
not worth it in the long run.
I think, Oliver's reaction said everything. I think he was disappointed. Oftentimes, disappointment is worse than anger.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel Oliver is probably feeling that sense of disappointment because maybe he could be seeing this as, oh, you don't appreciate what I do for you.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of going behind my back because you're not satisfied with, you know, our relation, like our working relationship or like what we do at Scarlett.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that's something that maybe like she could take away and be like, wow, I actually haven't voiced to Oliver. We haven't sat down and had a plan. Like, he's been helping her, like when she wanted to be a designer. He let her, you know, she got like time off to go to that class to make sure that she was accomplishing one of her goals or hobbies that she wanted to do in order to progress her career. So I feel like he's always been super open about helping her. It's just a matter of her actually telling him and, like you said, seeking for help. Someone who was looking for a little bit of guidance and help in her own world was Jane. She was realizing that, like, you know what, where, like, if this is my life and I, like, am gonna have to deal with this, where do I go from here? So we start out with her, you know, feeling a lump, and how frightening.
Yeah.
You know, if she knows she has this gene, how frightening to go into the doctor's office. We were all discussing, like, that is gotta be so scary. But then afterwards, when she finds out she doesn't, she had this kind of like self-realization. Were you guys understanding what she was realizing along the way? Were you able to pick it up? Or was it until she explained it to Pinstripe that you kind of then understood what she was talking about?
I think I understood her in a way when she says, like, oh, I have all these sick days that I've never used. I was like, wow, she has an this is helping her have an appreciation for life.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, like, I'm always at work and I'm always there, so I'm actually going to take the day off. So I thought that was really beautiful. And then when she went in to talk about it in the interview, that was like a whole different perspective than what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't catch on to it until kind of she had that phone interview, but I think I really loved this episode for Jane because me as a viewer, I never realized that Jane is kind of living her life or thinking about her life as a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
You know, we learned, or we confirmed that her mom died at the age of 32, and Jane probably always had this idea, I need to accomplish so much before 32 because that could be, you know, my expiration date essentially, and I never realized that that's how she felt, or that's how she was living her life. And I love the fact that she's like, you know what, I can't live my life like that. I have to live in the moment. You know, I don't want to think about not having a future.
Yeah. I love that. It's like she kind of took her life into her own hands and was like, no, I'm going to make the decisions now.
Yeah.
And I loved that. And I feel like there was this extra like effervescence about her. Like, she really was just seemed more confident after like knowing what she wanted to do and making sure that she was vocal with Pinstripe about it and being like, nope, this is how I'm going to take my life into my hands. I just think that this was it's a very strong thing as a character, and for like just to watch and to be like, you know what, like that was really inspiring and empowering. And like what she was saying about the 30 under 30, I thought was amazing too, and so insightful.
Yeah, definitely.
I've just loved to see her character really grow, and like she's just become so confident in herself. I feel like she used to question herself a lot. And even like I feel like this episode was a really defining moment for her. Like, no, I'm not going to question myself anymore. I need to do things for me.
I think that this season itself has been my favorite for Jane because since the beginning we've seen her grow. You know, she cuts the hair, she starts wearing different outfits, and then now to be able to say like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to go through the double mastectomy because I want to have a future. And I just think that she's like owning it.
Yeah.
I agree. I really love this season for Jane because I think Jane is kind of breaking out of her shell. Like, Jane always kind of had this persona about her of like, I'm going to live my life as perfectly as I can. And now she's like, no, I'm going to live my life in the moment. You know, even last episode, she's like, I'm not going to be afraid or insecure or embarrassed anymore about like, you know, being a woman essentially. Right. And just everything that Jane was once kind of insecure or embarrassed about, she's like, you want to know what, I'm embracing it now.
Yeah. And I love that.
That's true.
You know who's embracing life? Jacqueline. She's texting guys, she's hanging out with her ladies, she's dancing. I loved this. And you know what I loved even more is seeing Jacqueline's relationship with her friends and seeing a little bit of a glimpse into her life, because so far we've only seen her at the office besides small glimpses of her at home with her family.
Yeah.
And I think that this is great because we're seeing more of her personality. And I love to be able to see both sides of the story.
Yeah, and we're getting to understand her a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that I love that they're having this, like, representation of, like, oh, you know what, I was married for 20 years, it didn't work out, but it's okay that I'm out with my friends having fun. And I loved that. I was, like, here for Jacqueline. I was like, yes, Jacqueline.
Yes.
Push it.
I really find Jacqueline's kind of like newfound freedom very interesting because, like you were saying, Allie, we don't get much of a glimpse into Jacqueline's personal life aside from the office and the glimpses that we have at home. But now it's like, it feels like Jacqueline's, like, I'm going to go out on a weekday to hang out with my friends. And, she's not afraid to be texting her ex-boyfriend and all this stuff. I feel like, I said this before and I'll say it again, I feel like she felt trapped in her marriage and now she feels liberated and kind of wants to do what she wants.
I think in her marriage and also in her job, because most of that, like, her friends were saying, like, oh, you became serious, Jacqueline, after you got your job, which makes sense. Obviously, you want to take yourself seriously, but to a certain extent, there's, like, different places where you need to be serious and other places where you could still be yourself and have fun with your friends, you know?
And it's okay to let loose.
Yeah.
Love her. Love these ladies. Alrighty, let's get into into our special segment. Veronica, would you like to take it away?
Yes. So we always like to highlight a boss babe here on this show. And what a perfect time to be doing Boss Babe too, because guys, it's also Women's History Month.
Yes.
So what a great time to be talking about a show that focuses on women and, all of that. So I chose our boss babe tonight because she was also our special guest star on this episode, and it is Raven Simone.
Love her.
She is wonderful. Raven has done it all. She has been a singer, she has been an actress, she's been a talk show host. Right now she's an executive producer. She was also on, the star of That's a Raven, which I don't know if you guys know was the longest running show on Disney Channel.
Oh, I didn't know.
I love That's a Raven.
Yeah, it was such a successful show, and I don't think it was even meant to be the way it turned out, but it was. And she kind of really made this image for herself, and she does represent she's a member and represents the LGBT community, and she wanted to come out to kind of be an example and show younger people that it's okay to be yourself and to just kind of not have that fear of being who you are. And so I think on being true to herself on top of just kind of being a wearer of many hats, she's all over the place. She's doing a great job, and that's why she is our boss babe this week.
She was definitely.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That was amazing. I love Raven, and I think that just talking about That's So Raven, she had such an energy and watching it as a younger, when I was growing up watching it, I just wanted to be her. I thought she was so confident, so fun, so stylish, and I think she still represents that.
In my personal opinion, I grew up watching Disney Channel as many of us did, and I think that Raven is the most successful Disney Channel star till this day.
Yeah. I love her. Love her. Thank you, Veronica. Love talking about our boss babes. Alrighty, we're gonna get into some predictions really quick, and we're wrapping it up.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Can I go first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I think that Kat is going to catch some feelings for Cody, and while she's still figuring out, kind of her sexuality and kind of being guided down the path of bisexuality. And I know y'all are talking about Pinstripe, but this is another storyline I'm kind of over because they've been teasing it for so long, but it seems like we'll finally know, so thank goodness.
Yes. I will say that my prediction is that Pinstripe is up. There's something fishy about his book deal, about the tour, why it ended. I think that's what's actually gonna be this big reveal. But also, I don't know if you guys caught this, but when when Jane had given him a hug in the park, it was the last hug before we ended the episode, he looked off into the distance oh my gosh. He's freaked out. And so I'm I need to know what he did. He is in deep water. Something is not right.
Ooh, sorry, not to cut you off, Allie, but April Bennett in the chat is saying Ryan kissed Jane's brother?
What?
What?
Wait, what? Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well then, that's really bad.
Yeah, that's really intense. wow, I don't even know where to go from there. Like, that's in my head now. I think that Kat is going to continue to have fun with Cody because let's go for it. And I think that obviously Ryan's going to tell Jane, but I feel like whatever it is, Jane is sort of going to be accepting of what it is. Because I think that he was there for her at the doctor's appointment. He said that he'll be there for her if she gets a double mastectomy. So when you're a strong relationship, you can get through anything and almost everything. So I think that she might stick it through, and Sutton might actually calm down a little bit because our boy Richard is coming back.
Wait.
Yeah.
Is the girl he kissed the brother, not that he kissed a girl and the brother?
Oh.
Oh!
Yes, that could be it. That could be it. Man, oh, guys, I can't wait for next week. It's going to be so good. Love this show. And love you guys. Oh, what?
One last one. Jacqueline's going to go on a date with
Miles.
Yes.
Oh, love it. Alrighty, guys. In the meantime, where can they find you on social media?
Hey, everyone. You can find me, Veronica Valencia, on Twitter and Instagram at It's Me, Veronica_V.
And you guys can find me on Instagram at I am Carla Beltran.
And hey guys, Allie Nasty here. Find me on Instagram at AllieGirl. And of course, follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Ciao.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.